Blessed are the peacemakers.
Now, old Joe was a farmer who lived up in the hills. And across from him, there was another farm, his good neighbor. They were best friends for years and years. Their kids went to school together. Their wives were best friends. The kids had grown up and moved on, and the wives had found their reward in heaven. And so, there was just old Joe and his neighbor. Until one day, there was a calf in the field. And old Joe went out and he said, "Oh, my calf!" And his neighbor came down and said, "No, wait a minute. That's my calf." And Joe said, "No way. That is my calf." His neighbor said, "What are you talking about? This calf looks just like my favorite milk cow. This is my calf." Turned their backs on each other and spoke not a word. Now this was pretty wearing on poor old Joe. One day, he heard a knock at the door, and a young man was there with a toolbox on his shoulder. And the young man said, "I can do lots of jobs. If you got a job, I'll trade you for a meal." So Joe invited him in, fed him really well, and he said, "Yeah, I've got a job for you, all right." He said, "Looky, look at that creek. Comes right down between our farms. I worked there yesterday. My neighbor took his plow and he plowed a deep furrow all the way down. Then he went back up to the pond and he opened it up and all the water came down. And I got me a creek now. I don't want to have to look at that thing. You build me a wall. In fact, make it big enough so I don't have to see my neighbor, his house, his trees, nothing." And old Joe proceeded to go into town for some supplies. Now the carpenter, meanwhile, found the wood, got all his tools out. He sawed and he hammered and he lifted and he planed that wood and stood back really proud of what he had built. About that time, Joe came home. He looked, and he looked again. 'Twarn't no fence, or a bridge. Not only that, but his neighbor was walking across the bridge with his hand out saying, "Oh, Joe, I never would have been the first one to make a move. Thank you so much. You can have the calf." Joe said, No. It's actually your calf. It's just like your milk cow. You can have the calf." And Joe turned to the carpenter and said, "Young man, why don't you stick around? I've got lots of jobs for you." And the carpenter said, No, I have to go. I have more bridges to build." Yeah.